Like, what's the point?
Make a point.
Yeah,
That'd be
so here's
really
my
good.
point. The point of market intel is because it removes you from the equation. It takes the I think out of it. As we say, you turn your I think into an I know. The only way you get that is with market intel.
Someone says they don't like any seafood, you can keep naming seafood, but they don't like it.
Have you tried all the seafood?
Yes, I have.
You've tried all the seafood?
Every seafood ever.
You've tried all seafood?
I've tried all seafood, and I
You've
do not like any of it.
You've had red drumfish?
Yes.
You're lying. You're lying through your
That's
seafood.
not even a real fish.
A red drumfish? It sure is.
I'm going to look that up right
Look
after
it up.
this. Okay.
Google me, bro.
So we're not talking about fish markets, but we are talking about markets because we spend a lot of time with our members talking about market intel, different perspectives on market intel. Oh, and by the way, welcome back to No Followers Podcast. T-Bob.
Two different people.
T and Bob.
Yeah. T-Bob.
I pointed though.
T-Bob could be one person. Hi, I'm T-Bob. Nice to meet you.
Wow.
You know?
That's a pretty cool name.
T-Bob?
Bob T would be better.
Actually, there's someone I know. He called me T-Bob.
Really?
Yeah. Got me saved in his phone as T-Bob. I don't think he listens to the podcast. What's up, Steve? I don't think he's listening. He ain't listening. Anyways.
Not with that voice.
Go ahead,
I don't know
Bob.
what the hell you doing there? Okay. So we're back talking about something really important.
You're at the fish market.
No, I'm not at the fish market. We're talking about market intel because we have this conversation and you can look at intel so many different ways.
All the notes I prepared.
Yeah, had nothing to do with market intel.
They were all fish market. They were all fish related, fish specific.
Of course. Because when it's not your topic, you don't prepare. So we're talking about market intel, how to read it, what do we do with it, how to get it. Because we get a lot of DMs like, how do you get this market intelligence?
Yeah, it's just that none of my notes apply. My first note was, is the fish on ice? You know? How was the fish?
Stop. Use air hands.
He didn't say anything about my pen hitting the paper.
It's a nice pen.
Thanks.
You stole it from Nick?
Thanks to PPLSTRIKE for this rad pen.
That is a good pen.
I love the pen. Yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about, I'm sorry, I'm done with the fish jokes.
You're supposed to add some market intel stuff from our incubator.
Yes, sorry.
We talk about it every week.
We do talk about it every week. The goal, I'm just thinking about fish things now. Hang on.
Are you hungry?
Pull it together. No.
Do you want us to order some food?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You wouldn't want?
I'm not ordering fish. There's other things on a menu beside fish.
I don't know how you can be mad at a fried shrimp. A little fried shrimp with a little
chewy,
a little
and it's
spicy.
gross.
Not if it's cooked right.
No, it's just
fried
gross.
shrimp. A little spicy aioli on it.
You eat that.
Sounds delicious. Some French fries on the side.
I'll do some chicken or beef shish kebab.
I'd go for a whole little fried shrimp basket right now.
Why don't you just order it?
I wish we could get a sponsor that
get us food.
does fried shrimp.
No, I hope not. No.
Get out of here, Long John. You're rejected.
Is that even real fish?
I had a long day.
Is that real fish?
No, Long John Silver's. I don't know. I don't know if it's real fish. I don't know how the fish intel from the fish market. It was one of my questions.
This is the longest intro ever.
All right,
the crew hates us.
Market intel.
Yes.
It is important. And we do talk a lot about it with our incubator people. Don't get me going. I'm exclusively thinking of fish jokes now. The point, like, what's the point?
Make a point.
Yeah,
That'd
so
be
here's
really
my
good.
point. The point of market intel is because it removes you from the equation. It takes the I think out of it. As we say, you turn your I think into an I know. The only way you get that is with market intel. Because if it is just you at home on your computer Googling, like this, if you're just listening, you can't see, but I'm doing computer hands. Google.
Air computer
hands. That's a great starting point for your research, but you got to actually get into the market and get feedback from people because it will inform a lot of things. It will inform your go-to-market strategy. It will inform your design.
Customer experience, user experience,
Everything.
buying process.
Yeah.
Right. Marketing.
So what's the first step in evaluating market intel, Bob?
Well, let's back up again because you're jumping right in. The DMs that come to me say, how do you get market intel, Bob?
Okay,
I'm not going to ask T because T doesn't do that.
That's a great point, Bob.
Right. So how do I get market intel?
Yeah.
So I share with them in DM with my Google hands.
It's not as much elbows and shoulders. It's more
When I
wrists.
do it,
It's more of a wrist action. You're too much elbow, man. You're all thumbs.
I usually use 2 fingers.
Seen you type, you're like, I'm just kidding. You know, you're a very good typer.
No, I'm not really. I know my weaknesses.
They didn't know that, Bob.
I've always been truthful to everybody I've ever met.
You've taken us way off track.
Yes,
please.
I have. Okay. So how do you get market intel? So first you do the Google, like the T says, or the DuckDuckGo, or the Safari, whatever browser you want to use.
Anything but Microsoft Edge. If you're
don't
using
like that?
Microsoft Edge,
I was working on them as a sponsor.
if you're using Bing,
Thanks.
you got problems.
Thanks for ruining our next sponsor.
No, you should be Googling it. That's what you should be doing. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. In the generic Google.
Yeah.
Whatever platform you use.
Yes.
Okay, that's first step.
Yeah.
What do you do next? You go into the market, you meet people, you talk to people who you think is your customer. And you're not asking them questions, you're just asking them, what do they do? How do they solve some problems that you think you're not selling? You are just opening up these conversations to let them tell you a story. Because in a story, you get a lot of intel, you get a lot of habits, you get how they think. So that's one step. That starts forming. That's what we have our members bring back.
Yeah, I would even go one step back from that. So you've gone one step back. I'm going to go one step back from the step you took.
We've gone so far back
we're back in the fish market. I'll have a clam chowder to stay. Okay.
I'm not even going to share what that looks like.
A step before that is develop your customer profile, who you think your target customer is, and look at where are they? Where do they exist? And then go to where they are.
I thought that was the Google part.
No, this is post-Google, like Post Malone. We're post-Google. That's my rap name. I'm post-Google. No, Bob, I'm not going to freestyle. Seriously, though, I'll use myself as an example. I have an idea for a motorcycle frame. I'm going back years. Where do I go with that? Go to motorcycle shows. And you don't have to go to the big ones that cost thousands and thousands of dollars to go to. Go to ones local to you. Go to bike nights. Go to these things. Engage with the community. Determine what their pain points are. And you don't even have to necessarily tell them your idea. You can just listen to
tell them your idea.
What their pain point is. Then when you're ready for the big reveal, say as little as possible. Just show them and let them give you feedback. I like this. I don't like that.
At the beginning, you shouldn't be talking about your product. You should be just trying to figure out, here's what your assumption is to solve. Here's what I'm going to solve.
Some people might have a prototype or an MVP.
Well, I'm just saying, but if your true idea, you're not going out there trying to sell them anything. You are just trying to learn how they solve the problem you're going to solve with your product currently.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point about going to where they are. Yeah. If you don't know where they are, you can go online and find all these meetups and all these events where you can just start interacting with people to get a sense of what the market looks like and how people react. And we just did an expo that was eye-opening to certain students we were training, because they're like, I was using business terms I learned in a book or in class, and I was talking to these fairly successful businesses, and they don't even use the same terms. That's a huge piece of market intel, is understanding the jargon that your market's using.
Yeah.
And I always use in the film world jargon to test somebody if they're actually from the film world. Because a lot of people are in the film world, and I'm using air quotes, but they're really not, and they haven't worked in it. But, so you use jargon to kind of weed people out. But if you're learning about a market, you have to learn the jargon they use and how they speak, because that also helps influence your marketing and your phrases and the way you describe your own product.
Yeah, well, I'll use 2 examples from my own life.
So with fish?
No, we're done with fish. We've left the fish market.
I thought we came back to it.
Bob, all I can think about is fried shrimp with a little spicy aioli on it.
From Long John Silver's.
I don't go to Long John Silver's.
Sure you don't.
Ever since they pulled their sponsorship.
You make one joke about fake shrimp.
I trust the Gorton's fishermen. anyways,
calling. I'd rather have chicken sponsor.
yeah, this is going to devolve into a fish sticks joke real soon.
Oh,
All right. Anyways, the two examples that I always like to tell people are when we pivoted with Fabro from the integrated suspension for motorcycle frame to a bicycle frame. In the motorcycle world, we would call them rigids. We'd call a frame with no rear suspension, we call that a rigid. In the bicycle world, they call that a hardtail. It's a very minor difference. In the motorcycle world, it is sometimes called a hardtail. But a minor change in jargon, two different markets, same technology being applied, same frame technology, minor change, and people suddenly got it very quickly in the bicycle world. You just have to make sure you're using the right terminology. And same thing with getting market intel. The first Type 57X integrated suspension bicycle prototype that I built, we put in front of a select group of like 5 people independently, not with each other. And all 5 of them said the same thing. And you've heard this before, but their first comment was, "Where's the water bottle holder?" Our prototype didn't have a water bottle holder on it because it didn't matter. We were there for the suspension. We were there for ride quality. We were there for handling. My view was I can put a water bottle holder on anything. That can come later. They couldn't get past the fact that the bike didn't have the things that they expected a bike to come with. So then the next round of prototypes we built had everything on them that people expected from a bike, plus our suspension. Once they looked at it, saw everything they're used to on a bike, then they could wrap their brain around what we wanted them to look at. But it took those initial reactions of people going, and I mean literally 5 for 5. People went, first comment, "Where's the water bottle holder?" So that informed us of not even what type of product, but what type of prototype we should be building if we want to get good quality feedback.
And we use this in the media, and we talk about qualitative and quantitative research. That's a great example of when you're doing market intel, that your observation skills and your soft skills are as important as what they're saying, because what that is you're hearing about their expectations. You are learning what the market expects of this type of product or this type of service. It doesn't matter. It could be product or service. You're learning not just how they solve something currently or what they're looking for. It's literally the expectations of what makes it whatever you're doing. Yeah. And we're trying to talk generically, which makes it really hard at times. Yeah. But I think everybody gets the idea at this point.
Yeah. Well, even like when I built the motorcycle prototype for our frame, the first place it went to Sturgis, and it was taken there on a truck and trailer as part of an exhibit. And so the truck driver came and got it. Super cool guy, loaded it up, asked him what the deal was. I kind of told him, and he was like, it's really cool that the suspension's integrated into the frame, and it's wild, and blah blah blah. So he took it out there, and when I go to shows, like I don't like to actually be near my stuff. Like I like for people to enjoy it, and I don't like to be around when that happens. But when he delivered the bike back to me, he was like, "Yeah, when I was out at the show, I was looking at your bike, and someone walked by." And they said to the person they were with, like, "Oh, it's just another rigid chopper." He was like, and I stopped them and I explained to them, like, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I appreciate him doing that. He was a super nice guy. But what that signaled to me was that I kind of did the exact thing I wanted to do, but it didn't make enough of an impact. So I wanted it to look like a rigid, and it did, to the point where everyone missed the fact that there was suspension integrated into it. So again, that informed the next round of prototypes, how we build them, what they look like, how we display them. Because people are missing the thing that we kind of want them to miss, but for a new product, we want them to see it.
Right, but that also goes to the fact that people don't pay attention.
No.
And that's the thing that I always, still to this day, when we're talking to new members, they assume people are going to pay attention. And then we give them the 10-second test. Yeah. Here's a website. Tell me what's on the website. And they can't tell you one thing that was on it. But I'm going to go back to one thing because I have a completely different perspective on it. If we're showcasing something, me and my people are very close. We don't interact. We observe. For those reasons, I want to know how they're interacting with whatever I've built. Yeah. Like, I don't want to influence it. I don't want to teach them. I don't want to sell them. But I need to observe. And the one thing that you can all do at home is learn to observe listen actively, pay attention, watch body language, watch facial expressions. That's why we always say when we go out, we're always together, because if one of us is talking, the other one's watching the people. And we're doing this right now with the funding round, right? One of us is talking and the other one's watching the body language, because some of the stuff we say has no impact and some of it is real jarring. So.
Yeah, and that's like, we talk about comfort zone a lot. That's my comfort zone as a builder, I guess. Like it's not product focused, it's craft focused. Like I don't, it's hard for me to see something I built on display and then go like, hey, let me tell you why it's great.
Well, I don't want you to sell it, but you got to watch people.
Well, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I usually will stand.
Well, you got to stop wearing those big signs like I'm the builder. Hey, this is mine.
Listen, there's some people that they like to go set up and they put their folding chair out next to it and they want to go talk. And that's great for them, man. Good for them. But it's just, I like to, it's easier for me to promote or talk about your stuff than my stuff. But that's not product focused. That's kind of craft. That's like on the craftsman side of it. The two halves have to coexist.
So going deeper into market intel, some of the things we do here with our members and some of the things we've always done in our companies, we do secret shoppers to test, because sometimes you put people out into the market and they're not prepared. Then they don't know how to speak about their product. And we did that at the expo recently too. We put some of our members out on display and we secret shot them, and some of them failed miserably, but you don't learn anything without doing it. You cannot wing it. You cannot go out into the market the first time and get it right. We take people through a process of learning how to interview and how to customer discover conversations with potential market. Everything has to be practiced. You are not great at anything at the first time you try it, or maybe the 10th time or the 1,000th.
Well, you
just get better though.
Even the language you should be using, I'm going to describe it to you the way it makes sense to me. You as my customer might use completely different language that is more on the nose than what I'm saying. Once again, I keep using my own products to try not to throw anybody else under the bus, and to say that we practice what we preach, right? So we took the bikes to a big bike show out on the other side of the country. And some of the comments that people made were things like, it's a compliant hardtail for everyday riding, or it's integrated suspension for everyday riding. So we took that verbiage and we now use it in a lot of our market flyers, leave behinds, outreach, all that stuff. That's language that came from potential customers. That didn't come from me. That was things they used to describe my product. So I'm going to snag that because it's a perfect description and say, all right, if this is how they saw it, other people like them probably see it the same way. So you want to try to grab and pull the language that they're using to describe your product, because you know that that's what gets to your target market the fastest.
I don't care who you are. The market always knows more. And it proves or disproves that you're going to be successful or not every time. So yeah. I love that, sir. I'm going to use a different story because I'm going to take it another. So secret shoppers one. Some of the things you have to get used to is not being so emotionally involved in your product. You need to be able to disassociate, because the hardest thing is to put bias. And the way most builders and people in our cohort and us at certain times, we're so invested in what we're doing, we're biasing the conversation by what we say. And sometimes it's really hard to just step back and let somebody give it to you however it is, right? And I'll give one example from a medical device we built years ago. We did a focus group, which is a whole other area that we do here, right? We do focus groups. They're really hard to put together.
And
phenomenal. And they're expensive. Phenomenal intel. You get true user experience if you do it right. So we were doing this medical device, and we literally had to restrain the inventor from going into the room, because usually the creator is never in the room, because that's a complete bias. No one's going to tell you to your face in a focus group, your product sucks. They will gladly tell somebody. Yeah. Well, they sometimes tell us that we suck, but we're used to that. They will gladly tell other people that are not associated with the product what they really think of it. And we had to restrain this inventor because he couldn't get over the fact that they were not using the product the way he built it, which is true user experience, intel. So.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you do have to kind of separate it. And the other thing is, you as the inventor have to look at it and say, all right, one of two things. Either it's a dud product and I'm not going to pursue it, or the juice isn't worth the squeeze, for whatever multitude of reasons it may be that the juice isn't worth the squeeze for you. Or you have to look at it and say, okay, did I miss with the design, but the concept is still there? Or is that just not my target market? Is that not my ideal customer? We've gotten a lot of great feedback from people who have never spent more than $500 on a bicycle in their life. I value their feedback. I appreciate their time. They're never going to be a customer of mine. So you kind of take that feedback, but you discount it, and that's one of the things I was going to say earlier on is when you're getting market intel, one of the first things that you need to do, in addition to identifying your target user and their profile, is who constitutes a qualified buyer, because that will be a qualified opinion.
But that can change with intel.
Well,
too.
It can change, but there are some things that are big, right? My opinion on feminine hygiene products is going to have to be greatly discounted, a lot.
That's a very odd example.
No, because like my opinion on diapers matters in some regard.
In a few years, you might need them, though.
Man, if it was socially acceptable to wear them now, the efficiency I'd have,
depends.
the efficiency I'd have during the day, everyone would know, Bob. I just told everyone.
Oh, that's true, you did.
So like,
and I would make fun of you, kind of. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would, and it hurt.
Only to your face.
Words hurt. You know who probably wore Depends was the Gorton's fisherman. He was out there on the boat. Who has time? He's catching fish sticks.
Right, so I'm going to name this podcast like Market Intel Unearthed. Like, I think we have to get catchier. Like,
catchier?
You like that? See?
Fish.
I'm pretty good.
Catch.
Yes.
Catch of the day.
You're welcome.
We can call this podcast the Catch of the Day. Catch. Something with catch. We'll fix it in post.
We're going to work on that. All right. Well, thank you for...
are we done?
I keep getting the finger.
I don't think that means we're done. I think he just doesn't like you.
No. He literally told us like 13 minutes ago, shut the hell up.
Oh, yeah? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Because you weren't paying attention.
Nah.
You were talking about some fish product.
Well, let me just drive my point home about the qualified intel.
Oh, okay.
Because you said that I came out of right field with the feminine hygiene product.
Well, it was a weird example for you to pull out of the air.
Well, the only reason I'm saying it's not a weird example is because there are things that are like your customer, but not, there are things that are your customer and your user, right? Then there is your customer, not your user. And the classic example is always baby diapers, right?
Economic buyer versus end user.
I buy the diapers for my kid.
Can you
I put them on my kid, but I'm not actually using them. And then there is, I am neither the buyer nor the customer, but, and that seems very obvious, those people will still give you their opinion.
Yep.
And so I know that you were like, where are you going with this? That's why that matters. Because if you are at a show and you are selling feminine hygiene products, you will still get dudes come up to the table and tell you what they think. That's great. You don't have to get upset with them or yell at them. You just discount that opinion. That's not part of your data set.
As a marketer, I could also use that to then market to men to pick up the product for their
But then in that case, they would fall into the bucket of they are your customer and not they're your customer and not your user. But that all stems from knowing who is a qualified opinion, who is a qualified customer, who is a qualified user. If you go into it without that knowledge base, in addition to who's your target user, then you could go down the rabbit hole of well-intentioned opinions that don't matter.
So some people might not consider us, our opinions to matter.
Well, I think most people don't consider
my opinion
to matter.
I am shocked by that. Well, thank you for watching and listening to another episode of Market Intel Unearthed with No Followers Podcast from First Strike Incubator. You like that? Too long of it? It's not catchy enough?
It's not catchy enough. Okay. I think it could be more fish focused.
All right, we'll figure this out. We will figure this out in post.
Fish forward.
Appreciate, follow, like, subscribe, sponsor.
Catch us next time.
Check out or hook Peopleese using PPLSTRIKE. We'll see you next week. You got anything else?
Nah, I'm good.